This is my bride Carrie, and today is her wedding day. When I was asking Carrie some questions about how she wanted to look, she was pretty unsure and she just told me to do my thing. I love pink eyeshadow on girls who have blonde hair and blue eyes. There's something about it that's just really soft, so that's what I chose. Carrie always does her eyebrows, so before I proceeded on, I let her take a look and make sure they were the right shape before we got too far ahead. Eyebrows are really personal, so don't be afraid to give your bride the mirror. I always prep the eyelids with concealer. This time I'm using the Beautiful Skin Concealer from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade 4. You can of course use eyeshadow primer. I just like to use the concealer because it's skin tone and it's really going to make those eyeshadows pop. After her eye is all prepped, I always set with the Sugar Cookie powder from Huda Beauty. Setting the eyeshadow with powder is going to ensure that my eyeshadow is really nice and blown out and it's not attaching to that concealer. Anytime I do pink eyeshadow, I always pick up my 4 quad from Charlotte Tilbury. This is called Pillow Talk, and I start with the lightest color and then I work in the darkest color just in the outer edge. For right on top of the eye, I'm using the Revolution Beauty eye foil. This is in the color It's Fate. I love these. They dry really fast, so you kind of have to work fast or just work in small segments. Now I'm taking the Ardell Beauty lashes and I'm putting those on and letting them dry, and then putting on a little bit of chocolate brown eyeliner over top. I like to put my chocolate eyeshadow on before I let my client open up their eyes, just so that their eyes don't get too sticky. Then I add some waterproof mascara, and now that her lashes are on, I am going to give them a curl to blend the two of them together. Carrie did get a spray tan, so I'm going to take the MAC Studio Fix colors in NC30 and NC13, and I'm going to mix those two together. For her concealer, I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way in the color Light Beige and Swan. I am doing a more full coverage look on Carrie today, so I'm going to be layering the foundation. First, I add one layer, I let it dry, and then I go back in with another layer right over top with light pressure. I am going to be having a master class on October 16th. It's a virtual class that you guys will be able to join and learn all of my techniques. There's a link in my bio if you want to sign up. I really do like making the under eyes really nice and bright. It adds a brightness to the face and it's really nice in pictures. Now before I move on to the other side and blend out all of that concealer, I'm going to set the first side with powder. This is the Huda Beauty Sugar Cookie. I also use this right underneath her eyes and just give it a good set so it doesn't crease. Once her concealer is all blended out, I take the darkest color in the Pillow Talk palette and just put it right underneath her lash line. I'm going to do some soft contouring. I don't want anything to be harsh, so I'm taking the airbrush powder from Charlotte Tilbury, and then I'm putting on the Ecstasy blush from Charlotte Tilbury, and just blending those two together. I don't want any harsh lines. I always want my brides to look good in photos, but my number one priority is for them to look good in person, because no one wants to be walking around with too much makeup on and feeling uncomfortable. I did a couple layers of highlight. I used the color Pearl from Makeup by Mario, and then I took my Dior palette and just put that right on top. Now I'm setting her whole face with the airbrush powder from Charlotte Tilbury, and that is in the shade 1. Carrie has such beautiful lips, so I'm going to line them with the color Tan from Makeup by Mario. Right over top of that lip liner, I'm using the plumping serum from Makeup by Mario. This is in the color Bare Glow. Sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking when people give you full rein because you're not exactly sure how they're going to like it, but Carrie loved her look. She didn't want any changes. She felt absolutely amazing, and I'm telling you, there's no better feeling. So here is Carrie before I did her makeup, and here is her after. She looks like a beautiful angel, and that was exactly my goal. Carrie had amazing taste, so I wanted to show you guys a few of her details. I was obsessed with her shoes and her dress. Everything just came together perfectly, and I cannot wait to post her pictures.